So I'm out here first thing in the morning. I wanted to show you guys what our big project we're working on right now is. We're trying to get the garden ready, but because we free range our chickens, the first thing we have to do before we can get our garden planted is get a fence so the chickens can't get into it. We don't do a temporary fence, we do more of a permanent fence around the garden. Makes more of a physical barrier, and that way we can keep cows and any other animals out as well, as we're trying to keep the chickens out. So I was going to show you how I'm working on the fence today, and a little bit how we build our fence so that we don't have to be working on it all the time. So the last few weeks I've been working on these ends of the fence here. I'll give you a little show of what this looks like. So if I put a corner in, I will do 3 posts on a corner. So there's the very corner, and then you got the 2 posts on either side of it. And then we'll put a board in between, a post in between. And I connect those posts just by a nail on the end. I get a big 10-inch nail that connects on the end there and drives all the way through that post into the board over here. The idea behind this is, as the fence pulls on this, as I tighten this fence up, it's going to want to pull this post in that way. So if we come over this way, this fence here is going to pull this post to try to lean it towards this way. So what I do is I hook a wire around it then on this side. You can see the wire comes all the way over to this post here, and it goes down to the ground on the other side. So as I tighten that wire, it'll pull this post that way, and it'll drive this post out as well. And so I can lean that fence clear over the tighter I get that wire. And so that'll hold this fence really tight. I don't ever have to worry about it sagging. And I put a tensioner on it. We'll come around this one that I haven't finished yet here. So I put a tensioner on here so that I can tighten that up anytime I want. I can just come out there and turn that and tighten it up a little tighter. If any time the fence starts to sag a little bit, I can just tighten that up. I didn't get this finished last night. What I'm working on this morning is I gotta get a splice done in this wire. We're trying to get this in as cheap as we can, and so we found some used wire that was in really good condition, but there was one piece that was just not quite long enough. And so I'm splicing it in this section right here where we're gonna put a gate eventually. I don't want to put the gate in just yet because we got to get to the plant in the garden first, and so I can leave this here, we can put a gate in later. But that's what I'm working on this morning, is finishing splicing this, and then I'll show you a little bit of our garden here and what we've been doing with that. So a few days ago we had somebody come in and they tilled this garden all up for us. But what you can see here is on this end, you can't see it very well, but on this end down here, this is all new. This section on this side over here is all new garden. You can see kind of a line right across there where the soil changes just a little bit. And that was where the original garden was, that other side over there. So we're adding this extra piece in over here where the soil looks a little bit different. And the reason it looks different is because we, all winter long, we kept our cows in here. We put the cows in there so that they could add some fertilizer to the soil. We covered that whole area there with about 4 inches of manure and hay and straw. That whole thing was covered with about 4 inches. So when he tilled that up, it made this beautiful soil that we've got. we got this beautiful soil now, just full of manure and nutrients, and so that'll fertilize our garden all year. We won't have to add any fertilizer for the whole year. It cost me about $200 to put the posts in there. The fence I got for free. If I hadn't got that, it'd probably be about another $100 worth of fencing. But $200 to $300 to put this fence in, keep the chickens out. But this garden will provide us with probably about $2,000 worth of food, at least $2,000 worth of food every year for the next 40 years. So that's what we're doing today. I'm gonna get to work splicing this fence, and we'll show you around a little more. Well, that didn't take me very long to finish up. I did most of it last night. I just had to finish a little bit up this morning. I got to put another post in the ground. We had to pull one out so the kid that tilled our garden could get in there with his tractor. So I got to put another post in the ground, and then we'll start pulling this fence a little tighter and see how it looks. That post went in super easy because I put it right back in the hole where it was. I couldn't see the hole because he'd driven over top of it and put some dirt on it, but once I measured it out the right spot, it fell right back in the same hole, so that was super easy. I take a few extra steps anytime I put a post in for a fence. I always put a string out so that I can make sure my fence is straight. Not only is a fence a physical barrier, it's also a bit of artwork on your property. Make sure this fence fits here. So when we stretch that out, it looks like it's about 6 inches short after I spliced it, which is what I figured it would be. That's about all the fence, like I said, we got that fence used, that's about all we've got of it. And so I'm really hoping that'll fit that spot there. Once I pull it tight, we should get about an extra foot of space out of it. So we'll do that later tonight when I get done working today, but hopefully it'll work. I'm gonna head and get me some breakfast now, but we'll go make sure Gary's doing good. Gary's our goat. He's weed management around here. He often gets tangled up. Looks like he's good today though. Hi, Gary. Hi, Gary. Where you at? That's a good boy, Gary. He's just a little goat, whatever the little dwarf goats are called. So it's evening now. It's probably about 7:30. We're going to work on getting this fence stretched out. We'll show you how it's done. Gotta grab me some string. We're gonna do it kind of a quick way here. They got some fence stretchers that you can use that are a little bit better than this, but we're just gonna use a little bit of twine. I don't have a real long distance to stretch. It's only about 40 feet, and so I don't have to get it pulled super tight. Usually you use an actual fence stretcher with some wire, something a little stronger. We're just gonna use some baling twine. So we'll get it set up here. There, all we've done is we've tied some twine to the fence itself. I put it through that board in the middle so that I could make sure that the top and the bottom don't get smashed together as I pull it tight. I want that spread out as wide as it'll go so the fence will stand tall on the end. And we just hooked a come along to that. I've got that looped around the hitch on my pickup, and we'll we'll just start pulling that tight, see how tight we can get it. Find me a couple of hammers. We're gonna need 2 hammers to do this, and I got some staples. I filled my pockets full of that. It's gonna be real close on this end. Usually I start all the way on the end, but we're gonna go to the second post over here. Get a turn there. We're gonna go to that second post right there and tighten this up. The last little bit we do, we're gonna do with a hammer. We're gonna hook that wire and pull it a little bit tighter and put a staple in it, hold it in place, and hopefully that'll give us enough of a stretch there on the long length of it. This last little piece I won't have to pull real tight, and we can get it to hook on there all right. So we'll see how it goes. So we see that one little wire there. We're gonna hook our hammer on it. And that's, you can see how that moves. You can get a couple inches that way, get that last little bit of tightness out of it. I've pulled it hard enough that my end down there is starting to lean towards me. So when I tighten that end up, then you'll see this fence will pull real tight up here in the middle. You can see I can get a lot of slack with this hammer still, but when I pull it tight on both ends, you're not gonna have that anymore. It's gonna be super tight. Now before the sun goes down, I gotta show you something real quick here. Looks like Andrea cleaned it up. Here's the rest of it. You can see down here, a little bit of egg all over the ground. Right here is a little nest. The chickens had laid their eggs. Saying that that's one of the problems we have with free ranging our birds, is that they sneak off and they lay eggs places if we're not careful with them. The neighbor here was burning the ditch on his side, and it jumped the canal and started ours on fire, and that's how we found those. So we have been locking the chickens at night, trying to train them to lay in the coop again. We got one chicken. She's always laying her eggs in the trailer here. I don't see anything today. So maybe we got her trained. Oh yeah, look at that. Got one that missed up here. What do we got? 2, 4, 6, 7 eggs it looks like. Gotta untangle the goat real fast. We had to move him because where the neighbor's burnt, I was way over there on the ditch bank. It was coming right at him, so we had to move him real quick. So now he's up in a bunch of trees. He's all tangled up, so I gotta untangle him. Hopefully I can do it. I got a pocket full of eggs right now. So hopefully I can do it without spilling, breaking all my eggs. All right, time to call it a night. So I made the mistake last night. I got a little distracted and I forgot to close the chickens in. So I'll show you what happens every day. If you look, I come down off our porch. There's chickens. I come around here and there's the rooster. That one right there is the problem. And if you look, that window right there, this one here goes to my bathroom, and there's right above my bed. And that little guy sits out here all morning long and just crows like crazy. So that's why we've been closing them in. But they gotta go. I'm gonna have to buy me something to pluck them with. I'm not gonna pluck these birds by hand, but we're gonna butcher them probably this weekend, and we'll probably make some soup stock out of them, maybe make some chicken noodle soup. But this is my morning. Every morning is out here chasing these birds away from our window. And I'll probably have to do it 2 or 3 times because they'll just go straight back to that same spot. And it's only in the morning. The rest of the day they'll spend out other places, but in the morning they gotta be right outside my window. When I pulled that fence tight yesterday, you can see, maybe you can see, it leaned that post in that way just a little bit. And so I was able to get it good and stretched out, and I got the top part of it connected. But because the bottom part of it didn't pull over the same way, come look at this. Look at that, that bottom wire is just that much short. So I said I used that used wire. We got it for free. That's what we built this whole fence out of, but I was that much short of my wire. So I'm gonna have to get another little piece of wire to put in there. So with these tensioners, they just have a little tool that you use. Just slides right on there and you can just ratchet that thing down tight. All right, that's working awesome. Let's get the other side. So on a side note, we went down, well, Andrea went to pick up some seed today, and we're having a heck of a time finding seed. A lot of places are sold out and the prices are like 4 times as high as we've ever paid for seed. We found some places online. Looks like, was it Johnny Seed, I think, had the best prices, and so I think we'll probably look into doing that down the road, getting some seed there instead of having to buy it locally, or we're just gonna have to stock up in case something like this happens again. With this virus stuff going on, it's been a little bit different this year, so we may have to change how we're doing it, or we may never have to worry about it again, so we'll see what we do. We're probably gonna have to give that a few tweaks over the next few weeks just to tighten it up a little bit, get that top to completely stretch out. That top wire will stretch for quite a while. I mean, it takes a good long while. There's a neighbor coming by. But that's how we do it.